Good afternoon. Hey Pips Apprentice, how are you doing? Good morning. Hey Augusto. Good afternoon, how are you doing? Was in the middle of something, so I just totally forgot about the time. Hope you guys are well. Hi Linley, hi Jimmy. Give it a minute before we get started. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say, hope you guys did well on the on the Aussie dollar from this morning. Hope you guys did well on that. Let me know if anyone else got onto the Aussie dollar. Hey Bucci, good morning. Christopher, how you doing? Hey Christina, good afternoon. Hope you're well. All good. Alrighty, let's get going. Okay, so again, if you're new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. And for all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thank you again for joining me for this daily market analysis. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. Any particular pairs that you'd like me to look at, anything you'd like me to explain further, put it into the chat. I'll be happy to do that for you guys. All I ask is if you can help me out massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button. That thumbs up does help somehow, I think. And you know, your interactions during the session on the chat would make it a lot more enjoyable and more fun as well. Okay, so let's get going. Before all that, a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence, as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. That said, now let's go. Oops, let's go. Okay. Lindley missed out on the Aussie this morning. It was too early. Lindley, whereabouts are you based again? I forgot. I know Jimmy's in Australia. Got out with 25 pips plus 15 from last night. Was still dreaming about trying to get some pips from Pips Apprentice. Okay, before we get into that, I just want to share with you all a little bit of a funny thing that I did from yesterday. All right, so this is Mauritius. Okay, good to have you with us from Mauritius. This was the Kiwi dollar that we were from yesterday. So I had a combination of things that I was doing, and this is how sometimes when I get a little bit bored, I try out different things. Let me see what. So we spoke about this, but I was in on the Aussie at I think about that point. Right, so I was going for that. I got in early. No, wait, where did I, hang on, where did I get in at? 4 o'clock, no, I got in a bit earlier. So I think I got in there. I was taking a bit of a punt for it to drop lower. I had a stop loss of 20 pips. Right, I had my take profit down here to 50 pips to the downside. Then it moved, right, through the night as it was, well, through the session as it was moving. I moved my stop loss down. I actually went as low as to secure just a small, I think about 10 pips profit. Yeah, so about 10 pips profit. And then I left it. All right, I left it to run. I think it was about 10. Yeah, about there. So I have my stop loss about there. I don't know how to show it on this, but yeah, so I had it about 10 pips trailing in profit stop loss. And then on the Aussie, I looked at it on the H4 time frame, and then I actually had a buy. I actually got in a lot earlier on Monday. Wait, Today is Wednesday. No, so I got in about there. Or there. Yeah, about there. So I got in at on the buy for the Aussie early. About there, I had a 30 pip stop loss, and I had my same take profit at 70 pips to the upside. So that was my H4 trade. So I was mixing between. So I had my H4 on the Aussie first. I entered that first. 30 pip stop loss, 70 pip take profit to the upside. Let it run. It was trading down slightly. Then after that, I switched over to the Kiwi on the H1 time frame. Got in, and then through the evening, I secured a 10 pip profit on it, and then just let it run. So what happened was that last night it came up, it hit my trailing stop, so it hit my profit, well, my stop loss in profit, and it pushed up. So Kiwi dollar closed out, I think about 8 o'clock last night, where it closed out in a profit, a tiny profit, enough to close off, cover spread and commissions and a little bit of profit. Then the Aussie was left to run, and that was where we were from this morning, where it did come down, bounce off the support level last night, pushed off last night, and then early this morning we saw another big spike to the upside. I closed out of that trade as it was outside of the Bollinger. Actually, when it came back in, it's about 55 pips. Because it went out and then it came back in, so at about that point I closed out of my trade at 55 on the Aussie. So it was 10, random 10 pips on the Kiwi from yesterday, and then the Aussie was a bit of an earlier trade where it went through that bounce and then back up for that 55 for the news this morning. Okay, so just want to share that with you guys. When I did that, I was talking about that in the office with the guys, and they're like, wait, you're buying the Aussie on H4 and you're selling the Kiwi on H1? I'm like, yeah, it's an interesting play, a bit of a crazy hedge. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, it's just an interesting combination of trades that I was very glad that it played out. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Ayakame's Aussie is too early for you. Yep, understand. Hey matey, how you doing? Yes, we will look at the US yen. Nothing interesting on that yet. It's getting to that point. Good morning, Diana. How you doing? Hey Stefan, good morning. Hope you're well. All right. So you can see now that the US yen is creeping. It's at 154.93, as high as 154.97. Creeping close to the resistance. I want to see what happens. So this was the view from yesterday. It did push down. It wouldn't have triggered my trade because I want to see it test this resistance first before I would put that order down. Just remember that we spoke about that yesterday. So this wouldn't have been a stop. This would have been waiting to put that order in, right? So it needs to go up and test that level first. Okay, now looking at what we have missed out since the last time we spoke, a whole bunch of PMI numbers released. We had the US with their manufacturing PMI and services PMI. Big drop there. It was a 51.9. No, it was 52.5. Got revised down to 51.9, and then it broke. Remember, I kept talking about that 50 level. It broke that 50 level to get into 49.9, while services PMI went from 51.7 to 50.9. So this went from expansionary phase down into the contractionary phase, and this went from expansionary closer towards the contractionary phase. Right, so not very good news there for the US in terms of the manufacturing and services PMI at 9:45 p.m. And because of that, we saw that happen. Right, as much as it's not a themed news, right? As much as it's not a themed news, it did lead to a push to the downside on the dollar index because it went from manufacturing, went from an expansion to a contraction. When manufacturing goes from an expansion to a contraction, it's most likely going to lead to GDP slowing down. Then that's going to be an important number as well, right? So that's why we saw the dollar index go from 105.96 or breaking that 106 level to come down towards 105.62, and then now it's quickly retraced back above that 105.80 level. So it found this 61.8 level, and it hesitated there. Okay, so that we said it needs to stay. So yesterday I said it needs to stay above 105.80. It broke through, but briefly before coming back now. We see the level here at 61.8 at that 105.60 level as a key level right now. Okay. Diana took the Aussie yen. Very nice. We'll have a look at that shortly. Took a bit longer, but glad it worked out. I'm glad it worked out too. Good morning, Angel Case. How are you doing? All right, so that was the manufacturing and services PMI number from yesterday from the US. Early this morning, we saw the Aussie spike to the upside. Why did we see that? At 9:30 a.m. GMT plus 8, we saw for the Aussie CPI year on year came out 3.4, got released at a 3.5, right? So not a big jump, but increased, right? And I can't remember. I need to check the video from yesterday, but if I remember correctly, we kind of said might be 3.5, might be a little bit higher than expected, right? So it got released at 3.5, and that's why we saw that spike up on the Aussie. The interesting thing here is that with inflation at 3.5, does that mean that further rate cuts are going to be off the table for the RBA? Possibly. Does that mean that we're going to be looking at rate increases from the RBA? Maybe, but very unlikely. Okay, so that's just possibly a blip in the overall scheme of things. We saw that happen as well. October last year, when it jumped up to 5.6, and then next month it came down quite significantly. So this might be another jump before a continuation on a slowdown again. But for it to go from 3.4 to 3.5, that leads the markets to consider that maybe a rate cut decision from the RBA might not be as forthcoming. With that said, then looking at the rest of the day, right, looking at the rest of the day, we have Canadian retail sales numbers to be released. Was minus 0.3, expected 0.1. Core retail sales 0.5 to 0. Maybe some strength on the loonie. Durable goods and core durable goods, not too concerned. And then tomorrow we have the Aussies and the Kiwis on a Anzac Day break with the US GDP that I'll tell you about tomorrow. So you can see not a lot of news, not a lot more news to be released for today. So it will be, I would guess, a bit of a retracement slash a bit of a retracement first, and then maybe consolidation, or then continuation, but I think more a retracement to happen. Okay, before we get into the charts, just want to tell you guys again, the last minute, this is your last chance for a registration for the webinar tonight. All right, the link is there for you guys. Last chance to register. in about by the time we finish it, in 4 hours time, we're gonna have a webinar with through Tickmill, a forex brokerage, where I'll be running the webinar teaching you about deciding when to scalp, when to do intraday, when to do swing trades, and we'll go through that. I think the guys who went through, those who went through the last session, all right, you can share your experience, you can put it into the chat, let everyone know what you thought about it, and I hope to see you all on the session tonight as well. Okay, register. It will send you a reminder an hour or 30 minutes or an hour before the session. It is on Zoom, it's not streamed live, so you have to register to get the Zoom link to get onto the webinars. Okay, now looking at the dollar, bounced off. I like that it's bounced off. Today is the 24th of April. Dollar index bounced off 105.60, which is also that 61.8 retracement level. All right, so we're looking for it to push up. I have a level here. I can keep that as, you know what I'll do? I'll change that. I'll take that away. And I'll move this down to 106. Okay, and then I'll put a resistance up here. There we go. That looks better. Right, so it's bounced off of this level. It's at 105.85, 84 right now. It needs to break above 106 to get within this area. Yeah, so I'm looking at this. I'm thinking that you can see that level. The 106 is just at that 50% retracement level from this move down. Right, it's climbing back up, so we would see it come back up to test 106, and if it breaks through 106, we'll remain within this range. Bounced off 105.60. Look to retest 106 round number. Beyond 106, likely to range between 106 and 106.40. All right, so looking for this to push up, what we're looking for. Okay, there we go. I'm just thinking, okay, so now what I'm thinking is as pushing up. 38.2 is that I don't need that particularly. Oops. We're thinking that it might push up, and if it breaks this level, it'll continue up. If not, it's going to turn back down. Now the question is, what question I'm asking myself is, which is going to be a more likely scenario? Looking, no major news. Core durable goods and durable goods 1.3, 2.5. It was a 0.5, down to 0.3 to 0.3. Okay, I think that it might still look like, it might still look like a push higher. So I'll keep that, okay? Yep. Then on to yen is getting interesting. Look, it came so close. 154.90 98.97 and then it spiked down, but it's still looking, we still want to see what happens at 155. But first onto the Kiwi, pushed up, failed to break above the resistance here, well, that 38.2 level, that resistance now. So that was an interim level, take that away. If the dollar does continue pushing higher, then we can look for that move on the Kiwi. 5925. Stop loss 20 at the very most. Take profit. You could go 60 down, but then you'll be checking this move with 50% in the middle there. Right. So you could be looking at a 1:1, like 1:1, or best case of 1:3 to the downside. Alright, so Kiwi 5925, 20 to 60 to the downside. 0.5925, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. Okay, that is a counter trend move. So just remember that it's a bit of a counter trend move. You can take that one away. And that makes sense. So we're actually looking at this whole thing. This whole thing becomes the area, the resistance area, looking for it to push down and break through. Okay, then onto the Aussie. We've done that. That moved very nicely for us. Take that away. We see that sitting there. It came up to 61.8, almost at 61.8. Okay. Then looking at this, likely to come back down to retrace. It was outside the Bollinger, retracing back down, thinking that it could come down. Let's say that because of what happened on the Aussie this morning, it could come back down and bounce back up. Right. Then if I'm looking at that, it would be a bit rushed. It would be a bit rushed and not very strong to be looking to buy at that point. Yes, you can. Might be a little bit risky. I know that some of you might be looking to buy here, right, at 6.5, stop loss maybe 20, 30 pips. Your take profit could be up there, would make very nice, but you know, there's still that 61%, 61.8 there. So I would always say go look for it to bounce off, then look for it to go up. So 6540, 25 to 75 or 80 to the upside. 75. Looking for a strong recovery, possible recovery on the Aussie. Right, so if it doesn't go up, if the Aussie doesn't go up, then I'll be selling the Kiwi down. If it bounces up, then I'll be buying the Aussie up instead of the Kiwi up. Okay, so 654025, 654025 to 75. By 0.6540, stop loss 25, take profit 75 to the upper side. Okay, all good, all good. Put it into the chat and let me know, and do remember to click that like, thumbs up button. That would help massively. Now then, on to the US yen. We're at that critical point right now. If you did that, because okay, so you know what we said yesterday on the US yen was sell order at 154.70. I had two stop losses there, I don't know why. Stop loss of 20, take profit of 80. But we were waiting for price to break above 154.85 before setting the order. Alright, so we were there looking for it to break 154.85 before setting the order. Only now it's broken. Only now it's broken, so you might be looking at that as a possible level. So I'm looking at these points, and it needs to break. It doesn't look like we're going to see an intervention, but it looks like there's a lot of orders here trying to trigger that push to the downside. So yes, I would still maybe have my order down a bit lower at 154.65. No, 154.60. I want it to break and close below. No, 65. Okay. I'll tell you why 65 is because on this move back, all right, that's 23 there. I would say that because we might not see the intervention, what we're looking for is something like that first. Right? Yeah. I actually want to see it break above 155 now, actually. I want to see it break above 155. I would then still have 154.70. And then I'll have my take profit first at 50. No, first at 61.8. Then I'll have it there. So same thing, this needs to break above. Then we're looking for this push down. Once it starts pushing lower, I'll move my stop loss to break even or secure some profits, and then drag my take profit down to the support level down here. All right, so again, on the US yen, we want to see, first off, we're going to want to wait to see price break above 155. Then we will look to set our sell order at 154.70, 20 to 60 to the downside. We got that away. Okay. Sell order 20 to 60 to the downside. All right. Oh, good. Thanks for that, Jimmy. Now onto the pound dollar. So we're looking for that test and reject. Did not happen. Take that away. Broke all the way down. Take that away. Overall move lower. Could be looking at that, where it's come back up and it's tested that 38.2 level. Okay, so what we're looking at here is, yes, there is some push lower, potential push lower because of what the dollar is doing. Looking for this to head down. My support level was broken, so I take that away, and 61 is broken, so we can take that away as well. Don't need that. I can put that there as a support, and then I would revise this to my nearest swing point, which is down here. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at here. This could be quite almost an early trade to have. If the dollar continues pushing higher, we see that push up, 38.2 test and reject. We're looking for this move up. 23.6 is right there. So if it breaks 23.6, then we could be looking at 1.2420, stop loss 40, take profit, you have 80, 100 pips, 110 to the downside. Very similar to that move that we saw, with a bit of a hesitation at 1.2370. Okay, so 1.2420, 40 to 110, 1.2420, 40 to 110, 1.2420, stop loss 40, take profit 110, hesitation at 1.2370. There we go. Okay. Then onto the euro dollar, still looking for that rejection. It did not go as high as we thought for it to turn back down, but it's breaking lower right now. So what we're looking at this point, 38.2, very similar to the pound, where it hit 38.2 and it's pushing back down, likely to stay below that level to push lower. So we're looking at that relevant point. If it breaks past this, we have this right across. What you can be looking at is to short it down, 1.0675, stop loss 20, take profit could go down 65 to the downside. Bit of space there between the entry and the trend line, but I think that's okay. So looking for that move. It's coming close. So 1.0675, 20 to 65. We're looking to sell at 1.0675, stop loss 20, take profit 65 to the downside. Then onto the US Swiss franc, right? We were right in there, undecided. It spiked down, now it spiked back up because of the dollar towards that resistance. What you see here is that on the on the daily time frame, we've seen that resistance on H4 actually first. At that point, it needs to break, and there's a bit more continuation to the upside. So if it breaks that resistance, then maybe a continuation to the upside, 9155, stop loss 20, take profit, good 70 to the upside. Okay, 91, oops, where am I? What's happening? Okay. We're looking to buy at 0.9155, stop loss 20, take profit something, 70. Dinah is saying on H1, Euro can retrace to the fair value. And from there, can take a shot at 6990. Okay, so you're thinking that it's likely to do sit here, push back up, and then after that turn back down for that move. Yes, possible. I do think that that's possible. So yeah, that, you know, if you can catch that move up there, likely. If not, then I think once it breaks that previous point and to the downside, you can be looking for that. So yes, I agree with the retrace and then the continuation down, or at 1.0675. Okay. Then onto the US CAD, onto the loonie, all the way down, found a support, bounce back up. Anyone go onto that trade? Let me know. That's the 50% retracement level from the big move up. So we can take that one away, keep that there. That's a retrace. We might be looking at it come back up. I don't think it's gonna come all the way. And also because we have retail sales numbers likely to be a bit stronger than expected, or likely to be stronger than previous. Maybe stronger than expected as well. Might bring some strength back onto the US CAD, onto the loonie. So might be a small trade here on the US CAD where it could push up, but we're looking for that to come back down as an alternate view. So you might be looking to sell down 1.3655. Stop loss very tight, take profit about 40 pips. You know, 15 on a stop would be good, maximum 20 pips. Okay, so I'm looking at 1.3655, 20 to 40. 1.3655, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. Hey Jamil, how are you doing? Very nice, very nice. Then onto, and that's on the US CAD is might be a bit of a weak setup. I'm thinking that, you know, you might even have a test and reject at 1.37, but I just don't see it climbing that much. Like that. So 20. You could have that as a 45 again, 45 pip move, and then a continuation back down. But I just don't see a big reason for it to go up and then turn back down. Right? So that's why I like this one a bit more. That's why I like this. Oops, that's why I like this setup a bit more. Okay, then on to gold. Did I update that already? Yes. Onto gold, what we said yesterday, needs to stay above 2300. If it bounced, 2315. It got to 2300, bounced, so this came all the way, zooming a bit. So this spiked down in the morning, we know what happened there. Bounced back up, came back down, stayed relatively above 2300, and it pushed back up to almost, if it goes above 2315 to 2340, it almost got to 2340, it got to 2330, and then it's consolidating at this point. Unfortunately, what I see here is that on this view, right, it's tested 38.2, 23, and this level seems to coincide. We might actually be seeing a little bit more of a downside to come for gold. All right, so we're looking at something like that. A test, consolidate, a rejection back down, quite possible. I would say that 2300 might be quite well defended. So we should just watch to that one first. But we're looking for it to consolidate in this range and then to trade down 2323 down to 2300 again. Okay, so on gold, I'm looking at it to could trade down to 2300 round number support level again. Alrighty, there we go. A bit of a short and sharp session today, not super exciting, but I do think that we're going to see a bit more setups into tomorrow, and hopefully big fireworks on Friday with the BOJ and a possible surprise together with the core PCE price index to come for the US. Alright, so I'll leave you guys with that for now. Do remember, if you haven't already, register for that. I'll look forward to catching up with you guys again on the webinar later with Tickmill. So take care now. Bye-bye.